Best role-playing game for the best game design with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. So we got Elden Ring, Live Alive, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Pokemon Legends Arceus is not a role-playing game in any form. I think there's the argument to be made that mainline Pokemon games could be seen as role-playing games, but I would not say that Pokemon Legends Arceus is role-playing really at all.
I mean, I could make that argument because you're still like leveling up characters, you're choosing their move sets, you're putting them against each other, you're getting the right kind of team against them. I know the game isn't necessarily focused on combat like the same way other ones are, but there's still basically combat, and there's some actually really tough combat battles to do in that game. Like the end game boss to beat to get Arceus to Arceus. I think it's kind of a tough.
I guess that's my problem, right? Like, yes, that's in there, but like to me, it never feels like it's at the forefront of what that game's about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you with it not fitting on this list. Like, I still think it's an RPG though.
Sure, I guess if I had to put it somewhere, I guess, but
best open world.
Oh, fuck off. my pick here is Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I think that I feel like Elden Ring is slated to win pretty much every category it's in because it's very popular and it's a well-made game. But I don't know if it like. I guess it's an RPG, and because there is like character customization and I guess. I'm not trying to gatekeep what this means. I'm gonna just go Xenoblade Chronicles 3, both in my personal vote and in my my predicted vote.
I'm gonna go with Elden Ring for this one for the predicted pick of what I think is gonna win. Just because I think it is. I think those Souls games are RPGs. Like you're making builds, you're putting stats in, and like in order to progress in that game, you have to level up. I mean, there's significant sections of that game that at least me as a baby gamer have to grind in order to advance and like get my character stronger, to pick the right weapons and think about what to do. And I think this one feels more open than a lot of their Dark Souls games, more customization options than other Dark Souls games because there's more weapons.
Totally fair.
So I think it's not only a good role-playing game, it's the best Souls RPG version that you can get. So I'm going to say predicted pick of the winner is Elden Ring, but you fucking think I'm going to make Elden Ring my personal pick for any category for this game? Are you kidding me?
I know.
It's definitely Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That game was special to me. I loved it. I think there's so many good things about it. I think there's a few like flaws with it, but most RPGs have those like boring swim around this area to extend your playtime kind of like moments to it. But there's not a game out there this year that I think had a grand and epic story the way this one did consistently throughout the whole thing. I loved every little character beat. I loved the characters you meet. I even the boring characters of your party had some fun moments to them. So I like this game a lot. Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is Elden Ring a JRPG?
I would say it leans more towards a Western RPG.
But I guess my question is like, sure, because it's inspired by Western fantasy, right? But like, it's written by George R.R. Martin. But like, is it a JRPG because it comes out of Japan? Probably not. Because I think JRPG is at this point a genre, right? Not just where it comes from.
I think that's a valid question to go with. I think Western RPGs have more of an action focus to them, ultimately. Mm-hmm. And a lot more of that like open world collectathon type of thing to them.
Yeah.
I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is still inherently more of a JRPG than a Western RPG, but it is kind of like teetering on that line because you have the auto attacks that make it the action, but you're still like doing chain combos and links and all this other stuff to try to like go about that. And I really do think the idea of a JRPG is really slowly starting to blur that line between Western RPGs and JRPGs, because like thinking like even Final Fantasy VII Remake, that is starting to get closer to what a Western RPG is. And I think you still have those traditional menu-based JRPGs that I think about when I think of that. But the trend has really started to become more of making them action focused and movement focused and position focused rather than it being like you lining up and just doing your moves.
Which I think is interesting too when you look at like Final Fantasy 15. Like that was like for sure a very Western inspired JRPG. And so I'll be interested to see like what happens with Final Fantasy 16 and like what that combat system is like, especially compared to like the Final Fantasy 7 remake stuff. But
yeah.